Many of us went to bed Wednesday night hoping that the weatherman grossly underestimated the amount of snow that would fall overnight. Sadly for us, the weatherman was right. On today's show, we visit with two very interesting students on campus.
We'll also take a look at what students have planned for spring break.
Get your towels ready, it's about to go down. Spartan News starts right now. More change has come to UNCG, and we're not talking about budget cuts. The women's basketball team has a new head coach. Wendy Palmer has been hired to coach the Lady Spartans. She comes with tons of experience. She played in the WNBA, then began coaching in Europe, and was just recently an assistant coach at Virginia Commonwealth. She replaces Lynn Agee, who retired last month after 30 seasons at UNCG and over 600 victories. Palmer will choose her own assistants and begin meeting with players today. With any Democratic election, the big winner is the winning candidate for president. We asked President-elect Bonnie Landaverde what her biggest goal is going into office. It's time you visit the pump. Plan on digging a little deeper in your pocket. Greensboro, along with Charlotte and Raleigh, have the highest gas prices in the state. A month ago, a gallon of unleaded gasoline cost $3. Over a week's time, the price rose 19 cents. Gas stations located on neighboring Spring Garden and Lee Street hold the highest price per gallon at $3.40 or more. College students, especially, are feeling the effects by constantly commuting to school and work. With many of us traveling next week, these numbers are one big roadblock. If you've ever been to the rec and felt like you've had no room to move, well, you're not alone. After more than 5 years of student and faculty complaints, something is finally being done to resolve the problem. Nikki Pepper has details on the rec and what's to come in its future. After a long and strenuous offseason, Spartan baseball is back. This past weekend, the Delaware Blue Hens traveled to Greensboro for a 3-game series. The Spartans came out on top, winning 2 out of the 3 games. On a windy and cold Tuesday, they battled UNC Asheville, but ultimately lost 3-0. Even with that loss, fans are still excited about the upcoming season. And I'm Jacob Roland. If you've ever been in Greensboro, it's hard not to notice Boots Durango. I got the pleasure to sit down and chat with him to find out what makes him such a unique individual.
But at the end of the day, I do want to get in the entertainment industry, and if I have to ride Sierra's coattail, Rihanna's coattail, Chris Brown's coattail, Young Bird's coattail, and we got some interesting pictures on him. Honey, have you been on Media Takeout lately? Hello.
When many of us came to college, we didn't really know what to expect or how to act. For Brandon Robinson and Boots Durango, this was the setting needed to finally transform who he really longed to be.
This is an entity known as Boots Durango, a performer. Always in costume, always performing. You never really get a genuine sense of who I am. You know who Brandon is. Brandon is the insecure individual who's assimilated into society and closeting who Boots really was. Does that make sense? So Boots is actually the individual who is prominent in my life now because I was afraid of who he was in high school. I was afraid to be different. I was afraid to express how I really was feeling on the inside. And you know, you just don't wake up one day and put on a wig and a dress. You experiment. You figure out what you like.
Once he figured out who he wanted to be, it has been nothing but a growing process.
I desire to be an individual who inspires people using my talent, using performing artistry. So therefore, that's what I'm going to do, using my homosexuality or my sexual preference as a beacon to do so, crossing gender lines. However, I could have used anything to do so. I could have used plants, walked around with plants on my head, and still wore boy clothes.
That's not to say he doesn't have haters.
Because you're going to get talked about, especially if you dress like I dress on a daily basis, you're going to get talked about. You're going to get the looks. You're going to get the stares. However, as a performing artist, I love the limelight, so that attention actually turns me on.
If one thing was made clear, it's that Boots just wants to entertain.
Because through talent, in music, in comedy, in acting, and things of that nature, people are able to expand their horizons. It's fantasy, but we lose our imagination once we grow. Just be who you are. Be who you are. Express yourself in the way that you see fit, and be confident.
Special thanks to Boots for letting me get an interview. If you'd like to keep up with him, he is on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. This may not be news to you, but spring break is rapidly upon us. Craig Veltri took a walk around campus and talked to students about their plans for the upcoming vacation. If you didn't know, the women's soccer team has a new coach. and I got the pleasure to sit down with him and discuss the Spartans' future.
Women's soccer is arguably the most dominant sport at UNCG. This offseason ushered in a new era for the Lady Spartans. With Coach Radwanski now coaching at Clemson University, the Spartans have hired Steve Nugent to take over the successful program. He has come to UNCG with 21 years of coaching experience, but this will be his first NCAA Division I head coaching job. But don't think that means he isn't ready to coach this team.
I met up with some really smart people, some really good soccer people in Boca Raton, Florida. Just caught the bug, is what we say. Went to as many clinics as I could, went to as many conventions as I could, licensing, going to training sessions.
The Lady Spartans had an outstanding year last year, finishing 19-2-1 and winning the Southern Conference Tournament. They were ultimately defeated in the first round of the NCAA tournament, so Coach Nugent knows what type of team he has and how to continue that success.
We will be a possession team. We'll be an attacking-minded team. It wouldn't be uncommon for two outside backs to play for us to have a half a dozen assists in the year next year, just based on how we want to go forward. We want to be a hard-working team. We have a slogan here. It's called "Make 'em hate it." When we play, we want to make sure that the teams that we play against, they hate it, and we're going to be everybody's toughest game.
With any team this strong, there is no need for a complete transformation.
You don't want to come in and be a bull in a china shop and try to change everything, and I don't know how productive that would be. What I want to do is enhance what's been going on here.
There are goals that want to be accomplished, and with this group, the bar is set high.
We continue to talk about dominating the Southern Conference. That's a priority. We continue to talk about going deeper into the NCAA tournament, which is something we plan to do here. And then ultimately is to bring a college cup here to the University of North Carolina at Greensboro.
If Steve Nugent can bring a national championship to UNCG, then without a doubt, the women's soccer team will be the most dominant sport here on campus.
The women's soccer team has just started preparing for next season. They will have spring games in March, with the regular season starting in August. Students from the Interior Architecture program are teaming up with Habitat for Humanity to build a primary school in Ghana. Student Malia Daniels describes the impact the project has on the department.
For the department as a whole, it's a really big deal because we're actually taking all of our designs and putting them together to create something that we've all had a part in making, and then we're going to go over and build it.
Students are working individually and in groups to complete the overall design of the school.
I'm working on an assembly hall, and others are working on the library, and others the playground, more outdoor area.
This is no easy task because there is no electricity and no running water. Hannah Rose Mendoza Torres describes the process in installing filtration systems.
We have made partnerships with non-governmental organizations. Water for Ghana is going to be building 12,000-liter water filtration storage systems with One Village that specializes in bringing solar-powered technology to rural areas in Africa to bring solar-powered computers.
There are many challenges in completing this project. One of the main dilemmas is funding.
Students can't afford to really go to Ghana. I mean, you would think that going to Ghana wouldn't be very expensive, but it really is. And so it kind of goes hand in hand with, if we don't get enough money for the building of the school and we don't get enough students to go on the trip, then it's not going to happen.
To help raise money, students are organizing benefit dinners, selling raffle tickets, and asking for donations. There are 25 students and faculty traveling to Ghana to help with this build. The school is set to open in September 2011. It'll be named the Jack Freeman Memorial Primary School in honor of Hannah's grandfather. With Spartan News, I'm Jacob Roland.
Who'd be your number one?
My number one would have to be Eminem, I'm guessing, the Slim Shady. He tore it up, so. What about yourself?
I don't know about rap at all. I'll do it from us here. I'm Stephen Patterson.
And I'm Jacob Roland. Adios and vaya con Dios.